Hey everybody, my name is Shivang Patel, and today I'm going to walk you through a demo of FloQast Reconciliation Management. FloQast Reconciliation Management is an advanced workflow solution offered with our market-leading close management solution that allows accounting teams to navigate the monthly reconciliation process. Throughout this demo, I'll show you how the solution provides a holistic approach to help accountants manage the end-to-end reconciliation process from strategy and execution to audit readiness. Many of our clients here at FloQast are a variety of team sizes, ranging from a few accountants to a few hundred. Decentralized accounting teams are a very standard part of the equation. And oftentimes, teams want to apply a risk-based approach when looking at all of their month-end reconciliations to drive efficiency as opposed to long hours where the team is spending a ton of time. As a way to drive that, some of our top clients and controllers, they'll leverage one of our more prominent features with reconciliation management, and that's our perm files. Now, having been designed and built and managed by former auditors and industry accountants, we understand that documenting various procedures and policies is very important for the auditors. So controllers, they will use our perm file feature to document the overall reconciliation policy, strategy, and process by looking at a few different variables, maybe the type of GL account, transaction volumes, the level of risk, and the reliance on third-party data for IPE testing. Now, FloQast provides a place to capture all of this and ensure consistency and continuity as an organization continues to scale. Now, what you're looking at on the screen is really our central list of reconciliations across a single division, location, business unit, or maybe I want to get a full picture of every single GL account across all my global subsidiaries. Now, for the controllers in the audience, there are different ways to hone in on the reconciliations that you're most interested in. Maybe there are the ones that you only want to see based on their risk or based on their status. If there are items ready for your review, leverage the filters, which are sticky. So for you to log out and come back in, you'll always have the view that's catered and designed for you. Now, in this particular example, I'll go ahead and pull up a lot of the reconciliations that are assigned to me. And this gives me a general idea of how I can go ahead and manage my workload on a day-to-day basis. Now, for every single GL account, you'll notice that we'll provide the respective folder where that GL account houses in. These folders can all be customized, and we're really looking to track the level of workload that's relevant for you and your business. Within each of those folders, we'll go ahead and map all of the GL accounts that are relevant to that functional area. There is no limit to the number of GL accounts string or the structure. FloQast is really flexible where we can accommodate your current process. Then we'll go ahead and pull in the balances from your ERP and reconcile or see if those values agree to the Excel spreadsheets, along with documenting any differences and the respective sign-offs off to the right. Now, as I'm scrolling down the list of reconciliations that I'm responsible for, I see account 2000 AP trade has a pretty big delta. And because that $72,000 variance exceeds the $5,000 threshold that I've applied for this GL account, I can't sign off on this as the preparer, even if I wanted to. Now, that's intentionally done by FloQast as a way to really manage your reconciliations with a risk-based approach. We wanted to include both preventative and detective controls with your reconciliations. Now, as an example, what we'll walk through is what's the first step that a preparer would need to perform to complete this reconciliation, all the way through how does a reviewer get comfort that the right things were done. Now, the big difference between us and some of the other players in the space is we approach reconciliations by keeping accountants at the forefront. And what we mean by that is allowing the use of Excel as the medium to perform your month-end reconciliations. We know that flexibility is something that many accounting teams still require, yet they're craving and needing some of the additional controls that may be lacking today in Excel. And that's where FloQast comes in. A lot of your Excel reconciliations can still be done in Excel, yet the only thing we're going to ask you to do is, instead of saving those Excel workbooks on an internal shared drive, save them on one of the 5 cloud storage partners that we integrate with. The current demo account that I'm showing you is off of OneDrive. This is probably an interface that you're already comfortable with as accountants, but the only requirement is to save those workbooks in the dedicated monthly folder within OneDrive, and FloQast will automatically pick those files up. Now, it can see that because of the large variance, I'm not able to perform the sign off. So let's go through that example. Now, a lot of our clients, depending on their size and stature, may be looking for certain reconciliation templates to get them started if there may be a few accountants or really high growth. However, we also work with teams with hundreds of accountants where they're very, very proud of their Excel reconciliations and the formulas they've adopted, and we don't want to change that. So depending on wherever you lie in that spectrum, FloQast is very flexible to allow you to continue using your Excel-based reconciliations. Yet there's only one small requirement that we'll ask of you in order to facilitate the whole process. And that's to include this hashtag reference that's in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. As long as it includes a #FQ-GL account number trailing, and it's sitting right next to the ending balance, what that'll do is serve as an anchor to pull the balance out of your Excel workbook, push it into FloQast, and then automatically tie that balance out. Now, in this case, I do have an account that I've already reconciled. I can see that my difference is 0 and go ahead and document my sign off. As soon as I do, Mark Riker, who is the reviewer in this example, will automatically get notified. And maybe Mark knows that I'm bound to make mistakes. So he can go ahead and leave a review note, maybe to myself, another one of my colleagues, and just ask me, hey, maybe there was a key assumption that I didn't recognize or something that may have thrown this reconciliation off. So to be able to manage that qualitative review process that we're all already performing, whether it's via Slack or Teams, maybe email, we want to be able to capture all of that collaboration, to take credit for some of that work come audit time, and ultimately drive strategic improvements to your overall reconciliation process. Now, this is fine and dandy. I'm able to tie out an account, Mark is reviewing, but at the same time, if one of my colleagues comes in and posts a journal entry without my knowledge, or accidentally adjusts my reconciliation, FloQast has enabled a set of detective controls such that anytime there is a subsequent variance in an account that was previously tied out and signed off, FloQast will automatically notify all of the users. We'll suspend the initial sign off and we'll just say, hey guys, this account tied off a second ago, but it no longer ties now. Go ahead and fix the rec and sign off again, where FloQast will document all of those sign-offs as a way to evidence the complete audit trail. Now, one of the biggest and most valuable features that we've released as part of the current FloQast Reconciliation Management release is this new column that many of you all see right here in the middle. And that is our ability to now track reconciling items regardless of which GL account they originated. Reconciling items, for those of you that may not be aware, is a key feature when managing your overall reconciliations, allowing you to understand where are the material variances that you need to adjust. Maybe there are certain variances that in month 1 and month 2 you can pass on, but by the time they hit that 90-day mark, they must be booked because of their level of materiality. As a way for a lot of our clients that were asking for this feature, we wanted to be able to not only provide the ability to document and track those reconciling items, but we have an ability to now be able to globally report on all of those reconciling items just to understand the material impact. As an example, I can easily click on those reconciling items. It'll give me a list directly here in the application. Or in my particular example, maybe there is a way where I want to track my reconciling items for something like my cash account. This is a bank reconciliation that we've pulled up just to evidence how reconciliation or reconciling items are tracked. And we've taken our fancy FloQast hashtag feature and been able to adopt the same approach. Now, for those of you that may be familiar with other environments, what we wanted to avoid is the ability to duplicate or re-enter some of the reconciliation or reconciling items that are already originating in your Excel spreadsheets. For example, if we know that these two items are my reconciling items that I need to monitor and watch over time, we didn't want our users to be required to re-enter those items directly in FloQast, hence why the hashtag approach allows us to directly bring in those reconciling items as well as report on them down the road. Now, for a lot of our global clients that are managing multiple subsidiaries, that ability to report on reconciling items across all of my global subsidiaries is going to be critical. And in that example, I can easily perform an export, maybe share this with my global controller and understand which adjustments need to be booked this period versus ones that I may just need to monitor. Again, the introduction of reconciling items was a pretty big need for a lot of our fast-growing, larger enterprise companies, but we also feel it's a strategy that some of our other organizations can adopt, really to understand the level of work that needs to be performed and not overdo it. As an example of our approach to reconciliations, we just walked through how one is performed in Excel. We also highlighted a key new feature as part of our release with reconciling items. A big part of just reconciliations as a whole is being able to understand what can be automated, how can it be standardized, and where are some of the efficiencies that we can gain. Now, many clients understand that certain accounts can be automated and very well should be automated in a system such as FloQast. Things such as your bank recs, prepaids, clearing accounts, maybe intercompany, areas that you know that are pretty standard in nature in terms of their reconciliation structure. We have an ability to be able to fully automate those in FloQast, as well as provide the audit evidence that you're going to need to share in terms of compliance. The way we approach that is really twofold. We know those reconciliations, the bank recs, intercompanies, the clearing accounts, prepaids, those can be automated in our system. But for the other accounts that may still very well be done in Excel, we're not going to move you away from them, hence the example we just walked through. So really our approach is we want to provide best of both worlds to allow you to choose the least disruptive manner to automating your reconciliations so you can get more bang for your buck. Now, one of the areas that we focus on first is something called Autorec Matching. For those of you familiar with the term transaction matching, this is our version of the same functionality. However, there are a couple of unique approaches to what we've done with our matching engine versus some of the other incumbents in the space. For example, our engine is built off of machine learning, where a lot of the data, as soon as it's ingested, will automatically get matched without requiring our users to create a set of rules. Most of these types of systems won't know how to do the matching unless a user creates a rule. So we felt our ML approach will result in a faster implementation, more accurate matches, and less administrative burden to the end user. So we can go ahead and match things that are maybe a many to one, or as most of us are aware of, oftentimes it's not that simple. So things such as a many to many match are going to be more valuable. This is an area that our clients will not only leverage to automate bank reconciliations, but the whole purpose of this engine is to not only reconcile transactions that agree, but to spit out any exceptions that often take us hours, days to find manually. These are the set of transactions that Autorec can produce within seconds, allowing our accountants to immediately perform analysis, book adjusting entries to complete this reconciliation. Or if they're all done, they can easily export the workbook themselves. We provide an Excel-based reconciliation of the bank rec that we just walked through. Not only will this automatically have the hashtag for you, there's also an aging analysis that we performed and subsequent tabs, including the full audit trail of what the system matched and why it matched it. When you look at bank reconciliations, again, that's one example where we are comparing two sets of data to understand the exceptions and then ultimately drive to completion. However, there are other accounts that may not follow that same bank reconciliation format. Take prepaid expenses, for example. Many of us know that prepaids may not contain a high level of risk, although it can be a bit tedious to manage the schedule, perform the actual straight line amortization, and make sure that you have all of the latest and greatest invoices. So just like you saw with Autorec Matching, we have an ability where we can take all of your prepaid accounts, bring them into FloQast, and provide a level of automation that may not be applicable with prepaids in the past. For example, for every single vendor, not only will we provide you a roll forward summary of all of the key variables, including PO numbers or operational areas of interest, but once you click on the amortization tab, we'll not only perform the waterfall schedule for you and break out each of those line items, but we know that nothing is perfect in an ideal world, and there may be some adjustments that folks need to perform in terms of their amortization schedule or process. So very easy to go ahead and adjust any of those parameters. In this example, if I did have an amortization schedule that was still valid as of today, I could easily make adjustments to that schedule midterm, and FloQast would automatically catch up on the amortization, whether it's straight line or maybe pro rata. Again, we can manage a lot of those different variables. And we know a lot of our clients may be doing monthly amortization or daily, depending on your thresholds. So again, different parameters that we can support within this module. I think when you look at overall amortization along with FloQast Autorec and Matching, there is a way to automate upwards to 20 to 40% of your balance sheet and really spend the remaining time working on those high risk reconciliations that we know are in Excel. Now, as a part of this capability, we also want to ensure completeness. I mean, it's great that we've shown a few different ways on how we can approach and actually perform the reconciliations, but how do I know I've completed everything? And FloQast will provide you a big red indicator to tell you if something is off, but auditors may not take that for granted. So as a way, we do have an ability to perform a completeness check. What this does is it'll compare all of the accounts in your current trial balance versus the prior period TB and generate a report allowing you to map any accounts that may be missing in FloQast for reconciliation purposes. Now, this particular example tells me that I've already mapped the GL account for Chase Bank. However, my preparer, in this case, Edson, just hasn't completed the file yet. In a typical world, maybe I'm adding a brand new GL account, and whether it's in bulk or it's maybe one-off, you can easily add those new GL accounts as long as you have the right permissions. Pretty simple to go ahead and map it to the appropriate areas, maybe to the right functional account, and then enter your preparers or reviewers based on who you're looking to conduct that work. Frequency and different tags can also be applied just based on their level of risk. But now within a few clicks, I've mapped and added a new GL account, assigned ownership, and FloQast will be able to manage and maintain these settings month over month. Another really neat feature with our FloQast Reconciliation Management is we know certain parties want to be notified when certain reconciliations are complete. I know my CFO would come by my desk 4 or 5 times to ask me when revenue was done. So it would have been great if he could come into FloQast, click this eyeball icon off to the right, which automatically allows him to monitor this particular GL account, and he'd get notified as soon as there are any changes to the sign-off status. Once he sees that Alex has reviewed it, he would get pinged and can automatically come in, be a little bit more efficient in his review process without bugging me throughout the day. I think all key features when it comes to managing and performing your overall reconciliation process. But for us, FloQast Reconciliation Management solution creates a new level of accuracy and transparency into your close process. Whether it's managing risks using our perm files, or organized folder structure, custom tags to know what's high risk versus low risk, or for many of you, maybe now thinking of adopting the reconciling items feature just to be able to understand the level of work that needs to be done and when it needs to be completed without overdoing yourself. I think with FloQast Reconciliation Management, accounting teams can now manage their reconciliations with greater automation, centralized visibility, captured documentation, and improved cross-team collaboration. Thank you so much.